Alright, I'm live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my first ever live into the Sarlacc live stream. Um, Kind of weird doing a live stream. I've never done one before, but and I'm here to learn. I'm here to learn all new things. Talk about some Star Wars stuff. If anybody's watching out there, leave a like and subscribe. Um, this is new to me. I've never done anything like this. I wish I could would have come up with things to talk about. Hey, my first comment, Chef Frankly, how are you doing today? Just going on to talk about some Star Wars stuff. Hey, thanks for the like. And I haven't done any much Star Wars stuff today other than just put on my hat, my Empire Strikes Back hat. I'm on Return of the Jedi. I watched Empire Strikes Back again yesterday, and I'm supposed to watch Return of the Jedi today. I've watched Empire twice already, and I'm looking forward to just sort of analyzing. I'm looking at all these movies. I'm going back to watch these movies. Hey, you rock, Vanessa. It's my number one fan right there. Yeah, I'm in the room. No songs on my headphones because oh, yeah, here for at least 20 minutes before I get ready to work. I think it's already going down. Uh, I'm not choppy, am I? Well, yeah. So any of you guys have any questions? I'm happy to go ahead and answer them. Uh, I'm actually a prequel fan and Clone Wars fan. This is a story that actually Dave Filoni was going to bring into Clone Wars, but was never actually brought into production. There was talk about it, pretty much. I'm going to talk a little bit of spoilers, so beware if you haven't seen the Clone Wars yet. So pretty much when Darth Maul and Savage Oprez, what's your favorite character? Mine is Kylo Ren. Nice. Hey, hi, Star Wars with Frankie. Hey, another Star Wars channel. How cool. My favorite Star Wars character is Darth Vader, and the reason why Darth Vader is my favorite. Let me remove these Discord notifications. The reason why Darth Vader is my favorite Star Wars character is because when I first saw Empire back in the 90s with the special edition release, he was a big impact on the character, like character development. Sorry, keep on getting these notifications. He was always seen as a like very menacing character, and I've always been drawn to more of like evil personas or evil characters. Even in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'm more interested in the evil characters. I love Thanos. I love Loki. I'm not too much into like the superhero. I don't know. I'm not into the character development of superheroes. I'm more interested in like why did they become evil? Why did Darth Vader become evil? He wasn't evil. Anakin Skywalker was kind of pushed into the dark side. So that's pretty much why I enjoy watching more like from the prequels, because I grew up with the prequels. Even though I saw the original films and with the special edition release, I'm more of a fan of the prequels from episode 1 and then 2, and then when episode 3 came out in 2005 or 2006, I don't remember. I was in junior high. I was old enough to appreciate the character development and from the story, and the story of episode 3, from the rise of Anakin Skywalker to being the chosen one to the fall because he was persuaded by Emperor Palpatine to join dark side because he wanted to take care of Padme. He wanted to make sure that Padme was going to survive after the Jedi Purge and after they took over the Galactic Republic. So Darth Vader, I mean, I have a Darth Vader tattoo. I'm obsessed with Darth Vader. I've read all the comics from the 2015 original Marvel release of Darth Vader, which I recommend if you haven't read them already. From the 2017 after Rise of Skywalker, no, not Rise of Skywalker, after Revenge of the Sith comics. That's in Darth Vader 2017. Pretty much, it's a following Darth Vader's fall in Empire when he's in Mustafar, and how Palpatine kind of like told them that he had to find his way. He had to build his own lightsaber. He had to prove to him that he was the Sith Lord that Palpatine saw in him. So he wasn't just given his red kyber crystal or his lightsaber. He had to go out and build it, which I thought was really interesting. I also recommend reading those comics, and hopefully in future videos, if it's something that you want to see, go ahead and comment. I want to talk more about the Darth Vader comics too, because those I've read them easily over 3 times. They're a lot of books. There's, I believe, 25 books. Excuse me, 25 books for each Darth Vader series. So yeah, I could go on and talk about Darth Vader, but I don't want to bore you guys. If you have any other questions, go ahead and leave a comment, and also don't forget to like and subscribe if you're a new viewer. Yeah, this is my first viewers that are out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, this is going to be a quick live stream, and thank you for the likes as well. Go live with, would it be our Star Wars with Frankie? I would have to go with C-3PO, simply because he's so quirky. I love how just genuine and how innocent he is. I love C-3PO. I love the meme said, especially spoilers if you haven't seen Rise of Skywalker, when he got his memory wiped, and I just thought it was funny the part when he was in the Star Destroyer, and there was just blasting stormtroopers was blasting away, and he said, "Oh, this is my first. I'm so happy. This is my first battle." He's walking away slow. I just thought that was funny, like all those quirky moments and really sad moments too. When I'm thinking about it right now, when he was sitting down, and I thought that was gonna be it for C-3PO. Oh no way! Star Wars with Frankie. I got a signature from the actor playing C-3PO. So Anthony Daniels, man, he was supposed to do an Ask Me Anything on Reddit, and I was really looking forward to it, but because of the situation with the virus going on, he's scheduled it for another day, man. But what did you get from him? What did he sign? That's cool. I've always wanted to meet him. He seems like I've seen a lot of interviews with him. He seems like a really fun dude. Sadly, I have not met any Star Wars actors. I got a signature from Dave Prowse. I have back when well, he's still on Twitter, but back when he was handing out or giving out pictures with his signature in 2017, I bought one of them. It was for like 40 pounds. So I have that hanging in my living room. My wife says that it's kind of like a representation of our Jesus. I have Darth Vader because I'm just obsessed with him. Anthony Daniels is on Facebook, on Instagram, his own book that I brought by the way in England. Oh yeah, his book. I haven't read it, but yeah, his book is about like from when he started in putting on the outfit, right? It's about how uncomfortable it was for him when he was a brand new actor or an actor starting out in the films, how he thought that Star Wars in 1975 or 76, when they started filming, he talked about a little bit. He talked about it in some interviews about how uncomfortable he was, and how he was always just like let's see, I'm trying to remember the interview, but just how uncomfortable, especially. Fun fact: I live close to the desert here, where they filmed. What they filmed? They filmed Return of the Jedi, where the Sarlacc pit is, and where the skiff, when Luke Skywalker and Han Solo are gonna jump off into the Sarlacc pit. The irony! I just mentioned the channel's name, Into the Sarlacc. Anyway, so he talked. I'm getting off track. He talks about how uncomfortable it was for him to go to the desert, and also in the that scene where he's in the desert planet in Tatooine, and I forget the name of the place. I'm trying to remember it, but anyway, yeah, I should read it. I think I'm gonna get the audiobook because I want to read more about the history of the actors. I'm really invested in like Dave Prowse and Mark Hamill. Uh, Harrison Ford rarely does interviews, or he hasn't done any books, or because in reality, Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford. He plays Han Solo, he plays Indiana Jones, and he just leaves it in the back burner. That's just roles for him, and I understand. I mean, he's a great actor, but the ones that are really invested in the roles are like such as Mark Hamill and Anthony Daniels. I really look up to those guys because they reach out to the fans. I don't do it anymore, but I used to I used to comment on a lot of Mark Hamill's tweets just to see if he would reply, and he did to a few. He actually wished me a happy birthday last year in December, which I plan on still printing that retweet and putting it on my wall once I have a whole room for Star Wars. But yeah, that was my experience with Mark Hamill, and I was happy to tweet at him. I thought I was being obsessed, but I thought it was fun. Just seeing, I interact more with them in Twitter. On Twitter, it's than anywhere else. I recommend you guys follow like, let's see, Anthony Daniels. I believe he's not that active on Twitter, but Mark Hamill is really active. John Boyega is another one that's always tweeting out to fans. Oscar Isaacs is another one. Yeah, go ahead and follow them, man. That's the only reason I have Twitter, just to follow those dudes. Because in reality, I don't tweet much. I plan to more, but it's really fun. So anyway, thanks for the question, man. Those were really good questions. So let's see what else. I made a list of things I wanted to talk about, but I'm just kind of going with the flow, and I really like this more than just rambling on about what I think about Star Wars. Uh, let's see. Let me switch out the music here. So if you guys have any more questions, I will gladly answer them. I'm having a good time. This with those two viewers that I have, which is amazing. I appreciate you guys. Hey, thanks for leaving the likes too. Oh, so I was getting into this. Son of Dathomir. Okay, so spoilers again for those of you that have not seen the Clone Wars. This is, remember that part? I forgot what, I believe it was season 4 when Savage Opress and Darth Maul overthrow Mandalore, and Emperor Palpatine, aka Darth Sidious, hears about, or he senses that Darth Maul and Savage Opress are getting stronger. So he pays a little visit to Mandalore, and that opening scene, I've seen it over 10 times. That opening scene when Darth Sidious walks into Mandalore and he's just force chokes the Mandalorian guards. I forget the name of them, but the Mandalorian guards, and just walks towards Darth Maul, and you could see Darth Maul's face when he sees his old master, and how he just kneels. He kneels to them and says, "Master, I've done all this for you," kind of like for him to take him back, which to me was like, oh my gosh, you're just gonna leave Savage like back like that? That's not cool. That's your brother. But you could totally tell that Darth Maul was kind of playing a role where he planned to overthrow Darth Sidious, because you gotta remember, they're still the rule of two. They're not Sith Lords, they're just Sith assassins at that point. And that whole battle starts, and it was just mind blowing. I plan to see that whole arc again, because I can't stop watching that arc. It's so fun. It's probably one of my favorite arcs, after, of course, the Siege of Mandalore being my ultimate favorite arc. So, yeah. Oh, see, starting these live streams, I'm kind of, my thought process is all over the place, which it's normal for somebody that's streaming for the first time. And we now have 3 viewers, which is great, and thank you so much for watching. Uh, okay, so this comic book pretty much, after Darth Maul and Savage Opress are finished, or of course Darth Sidious defeats Darth Maul and Savage Opress, he, spoilers, Darth Sidious kills Savage and captures Darth Maul and imprisons him. Of course, being the rule of two, Count Dooku and Darth Sidious are the only Sith Lords or Siths in the whole galaxy. So this book pretty much is following that arc. Do you know anything about Padme's true love being really Obi-Wan, not Anakin? Actually, no. Padme has always loved Anakin. This is why I love the Clone Wars. And if you watch the Clone Wars, his true love was what's her name, man? Satine, the ruler of Mandalore. That's Obi-Wan's true love. And there's some episodes, they're not the best. They're like political fillers for the Clone Wars, but there are some parts where you seen. Hello, nice to see you live. Hey, thank you, Jesse Miller. Thank you. This is my first live stream. So, yeah, Obi-Wan has always loved Satine, and in the Clone Wars as well. And I'm gonna reference a lot of the Clone Wars because you see more character development. That's why I love watching it. Throughout some episodes, I believe there's only like 4 or 5 where Satine comes out, and you could tell kind of like the romance between. Awesome, good job. Thank you. You could tell the romance, or not anymore, but kind of like how Padme and Anakin were in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, in the movie. That's you kind of have that feeling with Satine and Obi-Wan. So Obi-Wan, of being a Jedi, he cannot love, he cannot have feelings. But when Obi-Wan was young, I believe they referenced that also in the Clone Wars, he's sent to protect Satine, and that's where his love kind of flourishes from. And if you watch Clone Wars, you see what happens to Satine, you see what happens to Obi-Wan, and that why he can never love again, and how his true love, being Satine, develops in Clone Wars. But yeah, Obi-Wan and Padme are not a thing. I believe Padme sees Obi-Wan as sort of a father figure. So yeah, Anakin and Padme are that's the thing, not Obi-Wan and Padme. But great question. I'm always gonna suggest watch Clone Wars if you guys right now that we have the time. Right now, I mean, I don't know your guys' current situation, but now that that we're in this lockdown, I've had plenty of time to watch Clone Wars, plenty of time to read comic books. I'm subscribed to Marvel Unlimited, so I read them all the time. I read the comic books digitally. Just once I'm finished with one arc, I go to another arc, and it's always fun to me to just read more comics, because you get all these stories that you wouldn't get in the movies. All these fillers. For example, right now I'm done with some of the Clone Wars arcs. I'm moving on to Kanan Jarrus from the Rebels, the Last Padawan. I've read, I believe, like 10 of them, 10 of the comic books, which to me they're great. I'm moving on to Rebels now. I'm trying to follow the chronological order of Star Wars stories, because the prequels, to me, everything from the Clone Wars and the prequel movies is my favorite era. So once I'm done with Rebels, I'm going to move to Rogue One, and when I'm done with Rogue One, I'm going to read the comic books that are with K2SO, and before, when the Rebel Alliance was formed with Princess Leia, and I'm going to read the Princess Leia comic books, and I'm gonna go live again, hopefully soon, because I'm having a good time. I love doing this, and I'm gonna talk. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read, and then if you guys haven't read the comic books, I'm gonna talk a little bit about them. Try not to spoil them too much, but just talk about why you should read them, why you should invest in the Star Wars comic books. I, the ones that are canon, not the ones that are legends. Which the legend books are also great, but the book I most recommend is Dark Plagueis. Man, that book, ah, disconnected. Hello. Okay, I'm still live. Yeah, my internet is not that great, so can you guys still hear me and see me? Yes. No. Oh, anyway, so Dark Darth Plagueis. Yes. Okay. Star Wars with Frankie. Good. Yes. It's always good to hear from Star Wars and Marvel fans. I love Star Wars and I love Marvel, but Star Wars is my baby. I grew up with Star Wars and I love it. I love everything about it. So Darth Plagueis, Carlos Ernesto Aviles. Hey, ¿qué onda? So, Darth Plagueis, for what I remember, it's not much, but that's definitely in my reads. Even though it's Legends, Star Wars for life. That's right. Even though it's in my reads, it's Legends. Um, I try not to cover too much like Legends because I haven't read any Legends other than the Obi-Wan book in a really long time. Because I mean, even though they're fun, I'm trying to keep with the story. That's just my point of view. I'm trying to keep with a story. I'm trying to keep with what actually happened in the Star Wars universe. The kind of book is Twilight. Is a Twilight Company. The canon book is a Twilight Company. I'm not sure about that. Veronica. So, excuse me. Yeah, I was really bummed when, and back in 2014, I believe, when Disney bought Star Wars and decided to throw all those books into Legends. There were Star Wars One View of Soldiers. Huh? Which book are you talking about, Pedro? I didn't read that comment, but I would love to know your recommendations of what book I could read next. Speaking of books, like I said, I'm going all over the place. But speaking of books, I just downloaded Dooku. I don't know if Twilight Company. I don't know if I've heard about that one. Twilight Company. Doesn't sound familiar. Is it after the Aftermath books, the series, or is it before? Because that those are also on my list. The Twilight, the not Twilight, the Aftermath books. I believe it's like 3 books about the fall of the Empire after Return of the Jedi. Yeah. So something I downloaded last night and I plan to read. It's before. Oh, okay. I'm gonna look it up. On a scale of 1, how much do you like Star Wars? Mine is 100. Yeah, that's right. So mine would be 1,000 then, because I love Star Wars. This is what I dedicate my channel to, just Star Wars, and all my tattoos. Well, I only have 2 Star Wars tattoos, but um, what was it saying? Oh, I don't downloaded on my reading app Dooku, Jedi Lost. I'm really looking forward to reading it. I believe it's 6 hours. So once I hear it all, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about a little bit because that's something I believe. Well, obviously it's happening during the Clone Wars, but it talks more in depth about Dooku's fall from to the dark side. I'm pretty sure most of you already know that Count Dooku was a master Jedi, and Yoda trained him. And I'm really looking forward to hearing all those stories and that audiobook. So as soon as I'm done with that, I'm gonna come back live. Hopefully I do this again this week because it's been fun. And my friends say that if you like Clone Wars, it's good to read Dark Disciple. I already read Dark Disciple. I read it. I heard it and I read it before. Dark Disciple with Savage, with Ventress and what's his name? Why am I so forgetful with names? He only comes out like 2 episodes of Clone Wars. What's his name? I forgot his name, man. Somebody help me out with that. Uh, Asajj Ventress, Voss. Yes, Voss. Thank you, Pedro. Um, yeah. I mean, if you plan to read it, I don't know if you guys already read it. Quinlan Voss. Yes. Man, it's so hard for me. There's so many Star Wars names out there. It's hard. Other than Darth Vader and Yoda and Luke Skywalker, it's hard for me to remember. I'm kind of old, I guess. I need to drink more vitamins to remember. But yeah, Quinlan Voss. I love that book only because it's you don't get in Clone Wars. You don't get the story of what happens to Ventress. You don't get the story of how she redeemed herself. I'm not going to talk about it here because I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if you guys already read the book, and it's just something that gets me hyped up because I love that story. I also recommend it. Thanks for that recommendation, Pedro. I love that book. Just to summarize it, is about how in the Clone Wars also. I'm gonna be throwing out a bunch of spoilers, so if you guys haven't seen Clone Wars or you don't care, let me know. Books I don't like are the ones of Claudia Gray. I'm not familiar with that author. A so Quinlan Voss and Savage. Savage. Why am I so obsessed with Savage? Quinlan and Asajj Ventress form a relationship. Kind of, they become sort of like bounty hunters. Well, not bounty hunters. Pretty much, you know how Asajj Ventress, like Lost Sword, Leia, Princess Sod. Can you listen to my song? Is Sean Shine Mother? Oh, Sean, this live stream is not about that, man. But thank you. This live stream is about Star Wars, and we're talking Star Wars talk. I appreciate the comment, but we're here for Star Wars, so let's stick with that. So I was going back with Voss and Asajj. So I love that story because you remember in the Clone Wars, Darth Sidious tells Count Dooku that Asajj has become too powerful. That he needs to stop her because he senses that Count Dooku wants to overthrow Darth Sidious as the Sith Lord. The rule of two. Always remember that. So Asajj Ventress is an assassin. So in the Clone Wars, you get a little bit of what happens to Asajj. She becomes a bounty hunter. She meets Boss. She meets Boba Fett when he was about 14, 15 years old. He's a young bounty hunter. If you don't understand Spanish really well, a YouTube channel I recommend too is La Sombra del Imperio. Actually, I'm fluent in Spanish, or I try to be fluent in Spanish, but I could get it behind that. Thank you for the recommendation. I'm gonna definitely check it out. I'm gonna go back and look for that. But Sombra del Imperio, okay, Shadow of the Imperial. So I love that arc as well when Asajj goes with Boba and she goes with Bosk and Dengar. And do you guys remember that scene where they go into the train and they try to rescue that special gift? It's a bounty, but it's a really fun episode. So anyway, what happens there? They don't tell you what happened to Asajj other than the last season. Well, not the last. The season before season 6, season 5. Okay, they tell you that Asajj just kind of disappears, or they may seem that with she disappears after they kill. See, I don't want to spoil it too much, but there's so much I want to talk about. Pretty much, Asajj they never hear from her ever again. Did you know on the Clone Wars movie when the bug attacked the Padme, Anakin ran out, took three tries because he kept on tripping. Wow, that's a fun fact. I didn't know about that. Attacked Padme and Anakin ran out and took 3 tries because he kept on tripping. Star Wars fun facts. I love to hear those. Oh, so Dark Disciple pretty much kind of tells you what happened to Asajj, which I thought was pretty fun because I never pretty much I never paid attention to what happened to Sasha. I just focused on what happened to the Order, what happened to Ahsoka after she left the Jedi Order, and after that, Asajj never entered my mind again. But in 2000, what year did that book come out? 2015, 2016. The book came out. I read it. Was my mind was blown away. Then the Clone War hype comes back. And I heard the audiobook, and I remember, oh my gosh, Asajj Ventress redeemed herself. And if you guys have not read that book, I really recommend it. If you don't have time to read that book, download the audiobook. I strongly recommend it. That's one of the best books I've read. So apart from the comic books, but yeah, Dark Disciple, definitely gonna. Now that you mentioned that book, I'm gonna reread it again. What is your favorite Star Wars movie? Mine is Rogue One. Rogue One is great. Rogue One is, I believe, my third favorite movie, but my favorite movie of all time, my favorite Star Wars movie of all time, would have to be Revenge of the Sith. And the reason it's Revenge of the Sith is because in 2005, I was in what, 8th grade, or 7th grade, or 8th grade. 2005. That was the first time I went, or not the first time, but that was one of the first memories I have of going to the theater, standing in line, looking at the poster, and thinking, man, like this is it's ridiculous. But to me, like looking at the posters, were like, wow, this is gonna be a great movie. I'm looking forward to look at the lightsaber fight. What's happening there? Oh no, I'm sorry, not the lightsaber fight. That was a later poster. I think it was Anakin's face. Where I saw everything, and I was like, man, I'm looking forward to it. So that opening scene, when they're fighting on the Jedi fighters, it's giving me chills right now. And they go into and rescue the Chancellor. I thought that's one of my favorite scenes, only because they get to battle Count Dooku. And I love the whole theme of it, the dark theme that it has, from Anakin turning into a dark side and seeing Darth Vader for the first time in the prequels. The same feeling I had with the Clone Wars when season 7 wrapped up. So I could go on and talk about, and I will. Yes, execute Order 66. That's the most tragic moment, and like one of my favorite moments. I don't know why, out of the prequels and of all time. So yeah, that's the reason why it has Order 66, Darth Vader in his prime, and well, Rogue One was Darth Vader in his prime. But yeah, so I believe that's gonna be it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to my first live stream. I appreciate every single one of you that are watching out there. Thank you so much. I'm learning. I don't know what I'm doing just yet, but I'm gonna get better on it. I'm gonna practice and keep on practicing. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. I'll see you guys next time. This has been Into the Sarlacc. See you guys in next week's, or possibly this week's, video transmission. See ya.